all day. Get the app now at 943WSC.com. Back to Kelly and Blaze.
Hey, Kelly and Michael, Scott from Mount Pleasant. You saw the video of Joe Biden tripping at the U.S. Air Force Academy graduation yesterday. My only question is, did he blame it on Trump, number one? And number two, this guy's fallen more often than Chevy Chase.
Live reaction of Biden's fall there from Governor Ron DeSantis. Headed into a 9 a.m. event here in Bluffton. You were in the Northeast yesterday. I blink, and here you are in South Carolina. Welcome back.
Well, it's great to be back in the Low Country, and we're looking forward. We got a really great event here momentarily. Then we got a couple more stops throughout the state, so it's going to be a good day.
Your reaction to Biden's fall during your New Hampshire speech last night was something I played earlier, but I'm curious live what you want to share with us this morning, Governor.
Well, isn't it kind of just symbolic about the state of the country? You have a president who lacks energy, who's stumbling around, no leadership for the country's future, and unfortunately you see an incident like that. But, I'm running for president because we need to change all that. We need an energetic executive. We need somebody that's going to get in there on day one and spit nails and really take Washington by storm. Washington, D.C. has been imposing its will on us for so long. It's about time we, the people, impose our will on it.
Governor, there's a lot of conservatives out there that are very unhappy with this debt ceiling deal. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've said it's a total disaster. We were careening towards bankruptcy prior to this deal, and we are still careening towards bankruptcy after this deal. This deal greenlights an additional $4 trillion in debt for the rest of Biden's presidency. It locks in the inflated levels of spending that were instituted starting in March of 2020 because of COVID. And remember those 87,000 IRS agents that we all said were so bad and Republicans said they were going to get rid of?
Yep.
They only reduced those by 2% in this deal. This is not getting the job done. And obviously, one of the things we need to look at is we have 49 Republican senators. We really should have about 55 right now. I mean, we've blown so many Senate races across the country. We need to start winning again as Republicans. And I think that if I'm the nominee, it's not just going to be about me. I'm going to work hard to make sure we're bringing in more people in the House or Senate, because ultimately it is a team effort. And you don't want to govern just by executive orders. When you do that, the next guy comes in like Biden did. He reversed everything on day one. So you got to work with Congress, and you got to get lasting change implemented through that process.
So, Governor, I want to know if you'd reverse course as president on what's happening later this morning that I think would have my own father rolling in his grave in Arlington because he was based in Fort Bragg, which is being renamed this morning Fort Liberty. We are broke as a country. We all agree with that, at least in this conversation right now. $6 million we're going to spend to rename Fort Bragg. Would you, with a stroke of a pen, reverse course on that if you were elected president?
Absolutely. I mean, this is just political correctness run amok. People, I was in the Navy, so I never served in Fort Bragg, but I know a lot of people did. In fact, my wife's sister and her husband were in the area and did a lot of service back when they were active duty. People have pride in the duty stations that they've been to, and especially Bragg is very, very famous for a number of different reasons. So we will reverse that, and it's a larger problem with the military where it is going woke. And as a veteran, I was proud to serve. I was proud to serve in Iraq. I have veterans coming up to me now saying they would not recommend their kids or grandkids serving in our military now because of the politicization. So as commander-in-chief, you go in on day one, you rip all of that out, and you say, you know what, we're going to focus on mission, and we're going to leave the politics aside.
Yeah, that's just sad that people feel that way. A recent poll, Governor DeSantis, shows that Florida is divided between you and former President Trump. He's attacked you, called you Rob D. Sanctimonious. He's consistently attacked you, and a lot of people are wondering, will you start to punch back harder?
Gloves are off.
Well, here's the thing. The name calling, I don't do that. Honestly, I think it's petty. I think it turns off a lot of voters. I think one of the problems he had as president was he turned off a lot of independent voters with some of that behavior. That's not what we need to do. We need to be standing strong on the policies that are going to make a difference. Now, when he hits me on things that are substantive, I have fought back. So, for example, he said Andrew Cuomo in New York handled COVID better than we did in Florida. Well, we were a free state. Cuomo in New York was a lockdown state, and we had hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers flee New York to come to my state, my free state, and we had millions of people come from across the country. I can count the number of Republicans on my hand in this country who would have rather lived under Cuomo's lockdowns and would have lived under our freedom zone in Florida. And so when he's saying that, you got to ask yourself, where is he getting this? But I think it's instructive because he was in March of 2020 with Fauci arguing for lockdowns. I think we all agree those lockdowns were destructive. They were a mistake. We can never let that happen again. But the question for the former president is, if you think Cuomo did a good job with his lockdowns, is that an indication you would double down and do that again if we had something happen in the future? And do you acknowledge that March of 2020 was a mistake and we should not have gone down that road as a country?
Well, Governor DeSantis, sadly enough, we could talk to you all morning, but
Please come back. We have so much more to talk to you about.
We're out of time.
No, we're going to be back a lot. Look, we, my wife went to college at Charleston.
Me too.
So her parents used to live in Mount Pleasant. So when we were dating, we would come up and visit them a lot, and it's a fantastic state, and we really feel at home here. So you're going to see us a lot. And we're going to be all over the place, and we'll absolutely come back on your show.
That's great. Thanks for your time this morning, and make sure you do come back next time you're in the Low Country, Governor, and have a safe rest of your trip.